Hi. Hopefully this sounds pretty good today. Oh gosh, that light's actually a little too bright. Hold on. It's a little better. Okay. So I wanted to start out with a little update. I know I had posted about that video, the short that I had about waiting for results in the hospital and visiting someone in the hospital. Well, my dad had a cystoscopy and they found a 3-centimeter tumor in his bladder. 3 centimeters. Like that big. And they found it in his bladder and they took it out. And there were some other stuff and other things and areas that seem suspicious. So they're going to be doing a PET scan soon. They have to schedule one, but they don't do that in the hospital. They have to go to the cancer center for that. So still a little bit anxious, but I am glad that they found that. He went in originally because he was having severe kidney pain, but they didn't know it was kidney pain. It was just like back pain, and they thought it was diverticulitis. And then they found the tumor, and they were like, "Wow, this is the most important part. Maybe it's that." I got a haircut, and I don't know exactly where I want the part right now. So, well, yeah. So he went in, and the pain kind of went away when he was there, and he was on like IV antibiotics. So they thought maybe the inflammation had been going down from the antibiotics. And I guess they somehow missed the kidney stone. He had pain again after he got discharged after like a week and a half. And he had really terrible pain again. He's like, I don't want to end up like when I went in before. Because he's not the kind of person that goes to the doctor. Like, and that's probably why we got to this point. His appendix burst like several years ago. And we were like, you need to go. He didn't know it was bursting. He just felt terrible. So he's the person that waits until it's really terrible. He's like, I don't want to wait till it's terrible again. That was horrible. And then they found the kidney stone. So they did a couple of things and they helped him out with the kidney stone. However, we still know, like thankfully, sorry, I need to get a better mic because I feel like it doesn't pick up enough sound. Maybe it's that side. Maybe I'm supposed to be facing the other side. I don't know. But he had that kidney stone, and it's really, really amazing that it had it, whether you want to call it God or the universe, just even his body's intelligence being like, hey, you need to get checked out and you need to know about this cancer. So it gave him a kidney stone. So he had to have extreme pain to go. But yeah, so that's the updates that we've been having on that. I am still kind of anxious about the PET scan because I don't know what's going to show. But I feel good about the fact that whatever powers are higher up there are, they or it, he, whomever, brought my dad to the hospital when it did. So I think that my dad's got some time left because otherwise it would have been like, oh, well, you didn't go to the doctor, so just have fun with it. So I feel okay about that. It still makes me a little bit anxious because my dad, but I'm not too worried about it. But on to the thing that I wanted to talk about with birth plans. Or birth plans, I like to use the term birth vision or dream birth because you can have a vision and you can dream about anything you want, and it doesn't have like this negative connotation if it doesn't go according to plan. If you use the term birth plan, if it doesn't go the way you want it to, then you might have negative feelings and feel like you failed, and you didn't. Things just sometimes have to change. But some of the things that I find most frequently people don't think about or really like know is delayed. So a lot of people in my clientele know what delayed cord clamping is, but they maybe don't know exactly like how long it is or what's the most beneficial. Some hospitals will say they do delayed cord clamping and they only do it for like 10 or 30 seconds. But there are benefits to waiting for white, or at least waiting until the cord stops pulsating, because there is actually blood that is being brought from the placenta back to the baby. I am also not a medical professional. This is just based on my research that I have done as a doula. So make your own research, do your own research and make your own informed choices. But there are just different pros and cons to waiting for white or waiting for the pulse to stop. And it's also dependent on each individual situation. Something else that people don't normally think about is cord traction. Some people have no idea what cord traction is. So cord traction is when your provider pulls on the cord slightly and kind of just tries to free the placenta. Some hospitals will do this really before your like time limit or the suggested amount of time for you to have birth your placenta is there, because it is a business and they want to manage the progress of things. And I mean, I've seen it done in birth centers too, but they're also a lot more open to being like, oh, like, no, I really don't want that. I have had some moments with providers where I was like, hey, this is really important to my client. Can you please like ask her for consent instead of just going ahead and doing this? Because they didn't. They just started doing it, and I stopped them because it does matter. And if you've got Pitocin also, then you're already going to be, your uterus is already contracting extra, which it's already going to be doing. If you just had a baby, your uterus should be contracting on its own. Latching will help with this. There's also the use of prophylactic Pitocin. And some people are like, oh, I don't want Pitocin, and they think of it only during labor. But studies have shown that using Pitocin at all in the birthing experience increases your chance of postpartum depression. So just having that information and thinking about these things before you have your baby and making true informed choices, and then knowing that if your nurse, your doctor, your midwife is like, hey, I'm going to give you some Pitocin now, you can say, hold on a second, I'd like to talk about this. You're allowed to ask for that time. You're always allowed to just like, I want a moment to think about this. You are allowed to do that. That's your care. And I mean, obviously, as parents, if there's ever a moment where it's an actual emergency and you can kind of tell everything's very urgent, you can say, is this an emergency? And do I have time to think about this? And if there's not, then okay, like make a choice then and there. But most scenarios, you do have time to think about it. Even in urgent cesarean section moments, they're not always emergent, just urgent. Okay, other things that I should have had bullet points, and I had a vision and a goal of what I want to talk to aside from the little update. But sometimes I get excited and I talk about all of the other things, but I should have written down some bullet points, and I will next time. Next time I'll write down bullet points. Okay, so other things that are on birth plans. Sometimes birth visions, dream births, birth preferences. Yes, we still have a house phone. I don't really want to run up and get it, but I also don't want it to ring. But I'm just going to keep talking. So birth preferences that people don't always think to do is if your partner's wants to catch the baby. Some people don't even realize that that's an option. It is, and your provider can help kind of guide them. You can also catch your own baby, even if you're in the hospital. Like, that's your baby and that's your body. And if you want to reach down and grab your baby, like, that's your right to do so. Other things, like if you want to wear a hospital gown, they have gowns that are cuter and comfier than those scratchy hospital gowns. The thing that the hospital wants to make most sure of is if they have those little access ports, and they have them. You can get things like that on Amazon that have the access ports. So if and like the quick release buttons on the side. So if they really are concerned about that, you can be like, mine has that, so I'm good. Another thing is use of intermittent monitoring. If you have a low risk pregnancy, then intermittent monitoring is something that should be available to you. And I have personally had a client who I think they put the straps on her for a brief moment and they were uncomfortable and she did not want them. Her husband took them off. They just took them off. I think that was probably one of the craziest, most awesome experiences, is because I had never, even as someone who had supported births in the hospital, and I had a client before that wanted the intermittent monitoring, but I was a younger doula, and And they try to make it seem like, oh, well, we don't have that, or it's not available right now. Or if you just straight up refuse the straps, they're going to do the intermittent monitoring. It's a little bit more work, but they're going to do it because, I mean, and you can also refuse the monitoring. It's not as safe to do that. Like even midwives and birth centers and home birth midwives, they at least do the monitoring for like, I think it's 15 minutes every hour, like during a contraction and not during a contraction, to make sure that everything's good. But you can. That was a fierce and awesome birth. It was funny, I think, the moment when the nurse was like, so you basically just want to use the hospital to have a baby? And she's like, yes. It was so awesome. Oh, man. Okay. So I have to get things ready to go get my kids. And I would like to make another video, another live, and maybe I'll go live later in the evening at some point. I know right now I have it set for Thursdays at 1:15, and I might have been 10 minutes late today. And I know it's not everyone's on YouTube at 1:15 on a Thursday afternoon. So I might go later in the evening a couple times here. Maybe I'll try it tomorrow night. My birthday is on a Wednesday. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'm just excited about it. I'm going to be 32. Got my hair cut. I was like, I am going to have my birthday. I want to actually have my hair in a way that I can wear it down and not be like sweating my brains out every day. But thank you for watching. If this video helped you at all, whether it is to get through dealing with some kind of family cancer stuff, or even just waiting for other health results, because it can be really anxiety giving. Or if you're pregnant and you didn't think about some of the things that might be on your birth preferences, then please put it in the comments and I will send you some love. Also, if you want to go to my website and email me, I will send you a copy of our long birth preference vision template. Anyways, have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you all later.